Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak and Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, Gretchen Carey with community calendar, and Anthony Matos with sports. Thank you for joining us. Burlington police officers arrested a 19-year-old LaSalle University student for an alleged credit card scam at a Burlington Mall jewelry store where she worked. Ariel Foster allegedly charged items at Lovisa for well above their actual price, then refunded the amounts to her credit card. Police Chief Thomas Brown says Foster allegedly made 8 fraudulent transactions totaling more than $500,000. Let's hear Chief Brown.
The amount is huge, and when something like this happens, the best way that we can get ahead of it is to be made aware of it as soon as possible. And Lovisa did a great job of reaching out to us and getting their team in place to allow the detectives to do what they needed to do in order to track this down and hopefully restore as much of the money as possible.
It's hard to imagine a store wouldn't notice $500,000 worth of refunds in a 2.5-week period. The transactions all took place between February 2nd and February 22nd. On March 8th, officers tried to find Foster at her family's Boston home, but were told they had just missed her. They called her phone, and she cooperated and agreed to meet them at her dorm at LaSalle University. Foster has been released on bail and is being arraigned at Woburn District Court. She could face up to 5 years in jail. The Middlesex District Attorney's Office swept a Burlington home on Brentwood Lane as part of an ongoing investigation into ghost guns. So-called ghost guns are not serialized and are untraceable. They can either be assembled from parts or can be 3D printed. The number of ghost guns recovered by law enforcement and reported to the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms increased more than 1,000% between 2017 and 2021, from about 1,600 to about 19,000. The Brentwood Lane home was searched as part of an investigation into Sean O'Connor, who was pulled over for erratic driving and found to be in possession of a loaded ghost gun. Officers went on to find additional ghost guns and components of incomplete guns at the Brentwood Lane home. Middlesex DA Marion Ryan said the arrest was part of a dangerous trend and said, and I quote, "In Middlesex, we will continue to use every tool available to us, from enforcement and prosecution to working at a legislative level to close the existing loopholes that allow those without a gun license to possess the tools to make do-it-yourself firearms," said Ryan. Burlington has entered into an agreement with Lexington to share a sealer of weights and measures. The sealer is responsible for checking gas station pumps, grocery store scales, and to make sure a gallon is a gallon and a pound is a pound. Until recently, the state provided the service to Burlington, but ended its contract with the town last year. The new sealer is Mo Lahey. He has about 10 years of experience and has worked as the deputy sealer for the town of Tewksbury. Burlington will pay 60% of the part-time sealer's salary, and Lexington will pay 40%. The Burlington Recreation Commission is considering additional motion sensor cameras for parts of Simons Park after a recent graffiti incident. At a recent commission meeting, Director of Parks and Recreation Brendan Egan said his department had found graffiti in multiple locations, including the treehouse and the pickleball court. Town cameras picked up a person near the graffiti, but the image wasn't clear enough to identify anyone. Egan said the police have been informed and are keeping an eye on the area. Burlington Parks and Recreation is excited to announce the release of the 2023 spring brochure and all the fun activities and events that go along with it. BNews reporter Robert Paris has the details.
Parks and Recreation is ready to move on from winter and gear up for spring. I spoke with the director, Brendan Egan, and another update.
We're very excited about the spring brochure. We have a bunch of new programs and some old favorites as well. Really excited about some of the new treehouse programs we have going on. Spring registration will take place on Thursday, March 9th, beginning at 6 p.m. So mark that on your calendar.
Plenty of activities will happen at the newly built treehouse.
In our therapeutic recreation division, we have a family connection event. We do these family connection events quarterly. There'll be a pizza party there. We'll have a Build a Terrarium program going on in May, and we'll utilize the treehouse for that, as well as just some treehouse time at Simons Park.
As we get closer to spring, Egan is ready to see families get out and enjoy the warm weather once again.
Getting back out there, winter in New England can be tricky and can be long. This year we decided to save all the snow until the last couple weeks. So, hopefully a quick melt to the snow. The nicer the weather, more our staff can get out and prepare the athletic fields and outdoor facilities for play.
I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
Members of the Parks and Recreation Department and other parts of Burlington government are receiving training in identifying and responding to mental illness. According to the Burlington Department of Public Health, just like CPR helps those without medical training assist people experiencing a heart attack, mental health first aid training prepares you to offer initial support to someone experiencing a mental health crisis or a substance abuse use challenge. The first aid is given until more appropriate treatment can be given or arrives. Over 2 days during Burlington school winter break, consultants with expertise in hazardous materials and geotechnical engineering were on site at Fox Hill and Pine Glen schools during winter break as the district continues its effort to repair and replace the aging buildings. Over 2 days of testing and inspection, consultants drilled and filled in 13 holes, peered into closets, and moved ceiling tiles to get a better sense for the issues in both buildings. School committee member Melissa Massardo and Superintendent Eric Conti are encouraging interested community members to follow along in the redevelopment project by visiting the project's website, fox-hill-building-project.com. That's a mouthful. The Burlington School Committee is considering changes to the Burlington Extended Academic Model, or BEAM, a program for gifted and talented students. It's not yet clear what the committee might do differently. Some committee members thought it might be better to have an after-school club, while others thought the right approach is to make sure every class is academically challenging enough for the advanced students. The committee will revisit the issue in future meetings. The Burlington Historical Society recently held a presentation on the history of Lahey Hospital moving to Burlington. BNews reporter Tad Stefanak was there.
After being very successful in Boston for many years, it outgrew that area and...
Writer Alan Earls, in cooperation with the Burlington Historical Society, gave a presentation on the history of Lahey Hospital, an institution that has cared for the likes of Senator Ted Kennedy and Ted Williams.
And I write for a living, but I also love history, so I often write about historical topics. A couple of years ago, I wrote a book called Boston Made, a history of all the innovations in eastern Massachusetts. I helped Dr. Wise, who was the retired CEO of Lahey, finish his manuscript about the history of the clinic, and especially the complicated period he oversaw of coming to Burlington. I worked directly for Dr. Wise. I was essentially his editor and proofreader and all that stuff, and he had all kinds of boxes and boxes of newspaper clippings and all kinds of things like that that you get facts out of. So I really worked with him to try to decide what the right flow would be for this, what things to include. So you need to boil it down to a basic story that people can follow. It has the high points and the key points, as I hope I was able to communicate in this presentation. It's a really interesting and important story. Most people don't understand how the institutions that surround them get there, how they're created, how they're nurtured, and Lahey has a really interesting origin story, and it's a very well-respected medical establishment. And I think if people knew more about the backstory, they'd appreciate it even more, because it is quite an organization. I was very pleased to be able to get a little glimpse of it through my work with Dr. Wise. A very controversial move. They have all kinds of problems, which we'll talk about.
The History of Lahey presentation in its entirety is available at the BCAT website. From the Kelly Murray Wing of the Human Services Building, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
This is
3-2-1 Read. The Burlington Public Library is participating in a friendly but fierce reading challenge between libraries in Massachusetts. BNews reporter Tad Stefanak brings us this report.
It's March, and the Burlington Public Library is taking part in a literary version of March Madness.
Yeah.
Called Minute Madness.
Minute Madness is a competition between 21 libraries in the state, a March Madness basketball-style tournament where We are collecting the minutes people have read. The first week is a free-for-all because we have 21 teams. So next Wednesday, they'll take all of the numbers in and hopefully we move on to the next round. We are recruiting anybody and everybody who wants to be on Team Burlington to read to your children, your grandchildren, your students, anybody to be on our team. Go to our website. Record your minutes. You just need your name, your minutes, and what format you're reading in and submit it. And we'll keep track of the rest. There's no hard sign up or anything. It's as simple as that. Do it every day if possible, but definitely by next Tuesday. And then next Wednesday, hopefully, we move on to the next round where it's just a one-on-one competition with another library. So it's fun, but hopefully fierce, and we'll move on. We have great support in this community. People seem to really love the library, and we love being in this community. We love our patrons, and we're hoping that more people will come in and visit the library. You don't have to be a patron to participate, which is the beauty of it. Anybody can do it, but maybe if you join and you think this is fun, you'll just happen to visit us and get a library card and keep using the library because we'd love to have more patrons.
So get out those timers and start reading for Team Burlington. From the Burlington Public Library, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak.
Burlington is celebrating Women's History Month by highlighting women-owned business. The town's Office of Economic Development is asking residents to share the stories of women-owned businesses contributing to the local economy by emailing ed@burlington.org. A local mom is raising awareness and helping others after learning about her own son's autism diagnosis. BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles has more.
I would like to start by telling my side of the story.
Burlington mom Rajani Kalluri learned her son Yuval had autism in about 2014 when Yuval was 2 years old.
After when we got the diagnosis, we have never heard the word of autism. Frankly speaking, we had to come home and Google what exactly is autism. We had no clue.
She says at first she didn't know where to turn, but soon she found a community of other moms of children with special needs who were also South Asian, or Desi. It's called the Desi Moms Network.
At some point, I got so busy that I had been a while, it's been a while, I was not active in the group. And one mom observed and she messaged me, "Hey, is everything okay?" And we just thought we'll check on you. And in that instance, tears rolled out. I responded to her saying, "Nah, it's not good. I'm just swamped up with work. Both kids are sick. Husband is sick. I just don't know what to do." Next thing I know, I heard a doorbell. That very afternoon, I opened the door and there she was standing with so much of food that she made for my family. I was overwhelmed with joy. I told my husband, being in this country with no family support, it takes a toll on both the husband and wife. And suddenly that moment you realize that, you're not alone.
Now, Rajani mentors other moms and shares her story wherever she can, like at this recent Federation for Children with Special Needs virtual conference, Visions of Community.
So I feel the pain, how much me and my husband felt alone without the support. So it feels really good to know that they are not alone and we have their back.
For BNews, I'm Sydney Bowles.
Burlington State Senator Cindy Friedman has proposed legislation to give Massachusetts an official state mushroom. She's picked a giant puffball, which you might see around these parts sometimes. They're white and smooth. They can grow more than a foot wide, and they're edible when they're young. Apparently, they can give you a tummy ache if you eat them when they're older. No word yet on how to determine their age. Only 3 states have state mushrooms: Minnesota, Oregon, and Texas. Friedman picked the giant puffball on the recommendation of Liam Noakes, a high school student from Arlington who is now studying mycology at Dartmouth College. I bet he's a really fun guy. Now it's time for the weather. BNews meteorologist Peter Brown has your weekly update, and stay tuned for your community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, everyone, this is Peter Brown with your weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading in towards the middle of March, and starting out our period on Friday, we're going to be seeing temperatures only around 40 out there, so a good 5 degrees below our average when we should be in the mid to upper 40s at this time of the year. Going to be kind of a stormy week as we go ahead. Also remember, before you go to sleep on Saturday night into Sunday morning, remember to turn your clocks ahead 1 hour as we go into daylight savings time. As we get closer to the first day of spring, which is on March 20th, closer to the vernal equinox, our daylight is now almost 12 hours long, so that is also some great news. Looking at our temperature map, nothing new here. Just about every part of the U.S. except for the desert Southwest is expecting below average temperatures. As we look at our precipitation chances, looks like our area here in New England, this little area here in southern New England is expecting above average precipitation. Now, starting on Friday, pretty pleasant out there, going to be breezy. Chilly for this time of the year. I'm only seeing our temperatures really around 40, maybe the low 40s. Now, as we get in towards Saturday, we're going to be seeing a weak storm system passing well to the south of our area. Might bring us some spotty rain and snow showers here and there in the Burlington area, nothing to accumulate. The sun returns on Sunday to end out our weekend, and again, temperatures pretty chilly, I think only in the upper 30s. Then as we get into Monday and Tuesday, we have to watch the chance of a stronger system moving south of New England now. So it looks like we're going to have right now a chilly, messy mix probably of rain and snow again for a couple of days. Again, not too much really accumulating out on those roads. Again, keep in mind and stay tuned to your local media outlets just to keep an eye on that, just in case it becomes something a little bit bigger. After the storm passes away on Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to see the sun come out. Cold front's going to sweep through and knock us back down into the mid-30s, so chilly out there. And again, remember, once more, going to sleep Saturday night into Sunday morning, we are going to be springing ahead, turning our clocks ahead 1 hour. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. On March 14th from 4 to 5 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having an event called Pi Day for students in grades 6 through 12. Registration is required, and to register, go to burlingtonpubliclibrary.org. On March 18th from 4 to 6:30 p.m., the Made in Burlington store is having a Peeps sign workshop. Everyone is welcome, and pre-registration is required. To register, go to the following website. On March 25th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Community Scholarship Foundation is having music bingo at the Billerica Elks. Everyone is welcome and pre-registration is required. To get tickets, go to the following link. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
Let's turn to sports now, where Anthony Matos has all the details.
Hey everyone, I'm Anthony Matos, and this weekly sports report. A number of teams in the playoffs at BHS may have the scoop on what's been happening. Boys basketball competed at Canton High School in the round of 32 MIAA playoff matchup on March 3rd, where they won the match 62-50. They advanced to the round of 16 in Sharon. We go to the highlights.
Round of 16 matchup was down in the South Shore as the boys competed at Sharon High School against the Eagles. In the first, Sharon's offense came out hot as they scored 18 points. The Devils scored 8, 18-8 after one. Sharon added another 20 points in the second, and Burlington with 8. 38-26 at half, Eagles. The Devils tried to keep up with the Eagles' offense as they scored 16 points in the third. Sharon added 11. 49-42, Eagles. Sharon ended the game in the fourth with an additional 26 points. Burlington added 17. 75-59 was the final, Sharon.
5 seniors are departing this offseason, including Eric Sakaya, Ben Poehler, Aiden Hayes, Jordan Sutherland, and Isaiah Burley. Lahey's Jellos Gymnastics did not qualify for the MIAA State Championship this year. Graduating seniors from the team are Sam Wynn and Jenna Linnaeus. Girls hockey was in the Sweet 16 round of the playoffs and competed against Winchester at O'Brien Ice Rink in Woburn on March 4th. We go to the highlights.
Is where the face-off took place against Winchester. In the first period, Winchester scored first, 1-0 on a breakaway. Burlington answered back with a goal scored by 8th grader Emma Steiner, 1-1. The Devils took the lead in the second, 2-1 with a goal by sophomore Caitlin Tremblay. Burlington's defense took control of the game from there, as they didn't allow Winchester to score anything else. 2-1 was the final. Devils.
They advanced to the Elite Eight round and went to Canton Ice House for a game against Archbishop Williams. We go to the highlights.
Canton Ice House was packed for the Elite Eight as the Red Devils and Archbishop Williams took the ice. In the first period, Archbishop Williams scored 2 goals, both by Caroline Batchelder. AW scored one more time in the second by Maggie Lynch, 3-0. It was a very defensive game in the third as the Devils were unable to find a way to score. The final was 3-0 Archbishop Williams. 2 seniors are departing from the Red Devil team, Abby Sousa and Lizzie Boulos.
Athletes on girls track Cora Laverty and Athea Walensky both competed at the MSTCA Pentathlon on March 2nd at Shrewsbury High School. You can check out the full results at bcattv.org/sports. Laverty placed 10th and Walensky placed 48th out of 109 athletes. Grace Hannafin and Shar Collins both completed the New England Championship meet in the long jump event on March 4th at the Reggie Lewis Center in Boston. Hannafin came in 3rd and Collins in 7th. Hannafin will be in Nationals this upcoming weekend to run in the 200. We wish her good luck in the event. In addition, Nelson was awarded Coach of the Year by Massachusetts State Track Coaches Association. We go to BNews Sports reporter Robert Paris for more.
It was another successful season for girls indoor track, as their head coach, Jess Nelson, was named the MSTCA Coach of the Year once again.
I am lucky enough to be called the MSTCA D3 Girls Indoor Coach of the Year again. I had it last year. I was really lucky to get that, and we got it again this year, and I think it has a lot to do with our team and how well they do, and they make me look really good.
Speaking of the team, Burlington had a number of outstanding achievements during the season.
We started off by winning the Middlesex League Freedom Division, and then we went on to the Middlesex League meet and placed 3rd there. So that was really exciting. And then we came in 3rd at state relays. We won it last year, but 3rd this year. And then 2nd at states, we placed 2nd there, so that was really exciting. And then all states, we sent a few girls there. They did really well. They qualified for New England's, which we just had this past weekend, and they did really well. A lot of really talented girls, and they're performing really well at the meets, and I think that's a huge part of it.
Nelson is looking forward to the continued success the girls have shown when performing in the events.
The best part about this is, this is our home team. This is our high school. We love it. We know the sport, and we've all gotten to know the girls really well, and they kind of have really bought in so far. Practice is so fun, so we can't help but do really well at meets when we're having a lot of fun and just being successful.
I'm Robert Paris for BNews Sports.
For more Red Devil action, go to bcattv.org/sports and check out our Twitter page at BNews Sports. That's all for now. I'm Anthony Matos. Back to you guys in the studio.
And we always like to share a photo of the week sent in by our viewers. This week's it's Christina Nikitas with a picture she's calling Outburst Inverse. It was taken in Boston. We'd love to share your photos. Send them to us at bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And before we finish this broadcast, one last thing. Burlington's town elections are coming up in April, and BCAT is hosting a debate between the 3 candidates running for 2 open school committee seats. That debate will be available online on March 17th. It will also air on BCAT, and stay tuned for forums with people running for Select Board, Planning Board, and Recreation Commission. For more information, visit bcattv.org. And that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with Sydney Bowles, our producer, Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, Gretchen Carey, Peter Brown, Anthony Matos, and Chris Flaherty was our director today. Thank you for joining us.